All right, boys. We are up to a new question. Joe said something about his wife. I thought this would be the greatest question you could ever have. What's one choice you really regret?
Ooh, it's definitely not marrying my wife if that's what you're trying to imply.
Why would you even say that, Joe Kelsey?
That's my best choice ever.
Kelsey, that is nobody said that. Joe said that. Why would Joe? What, Joe? Why would you say that?
Because of how you led into this, of course. It was you.
Yeah, it was all me.
All you.
All me.
Yeah, you're not living up to your tag tonight.
I thought, if anything, it'd be, I regret the 500 women I ever saw before I met my wife.
My wife.
So, how about a real one? How about a real choice you regret besides hosting a show with me?
Why'd you gotta ruin mine like that?
Because I can read you like a book.
Oh, do you have one, Kurt?
Yes, I do. And while you're thinking about your wife,
your wife,
this is weird, but I regret not following through with my plans to be a music teacher or a music major in college. Now,
that's actually come up a lot for you this year.
Well, it's because I don't have many regrets, because I always have to balance it with, if I were to do that, would I have had the kids that I have? Would I have had the career that I've had, like in terms of financially? Almost certainly not, because music teachers get paid nothing. But it was a passion. It was a passion of mine. So that, and I even toyed with the idea of going back to school to get my degree at one point, but now I'm too old for it. Like it's just like, I can't even, the idea of student teaching gives me hives.
But what about independent teaching? I know crazy ideas are crazy ideas, but I just had this image of Kurt putting together the Dragon Con choir kids, and you'd meet over Zoom throughout the year, and then one panel is a little choir performance set. All these awesome digital media creators came together, and you taught them how to put together this awesome little show.
Like I don't know, a parody song called "We Are the Nerds."
Yeah.
So
that sounds like a real thing, though.
Except I don't think it is. But regardless, so see, here's the other part of that, right? Yes, I have a regret for not being able to do that, because I think I could have impacted students' lives in a positive manner. That being said, nowadays, I actually get some of what I believe I would have missed, because I coach musical groups. I teach some vocal lessons on occasion with people in the musical groups that I'm in, like in that community. So I get the teacher aspect of that. That fulfills me, and so sure. I get that aspect of it. But I always, and again, for me, it's because my music teacher in high school had such a massive, profound impact on my life that if I could provide that for one person, that would be amazing.
What if, just like you did the fit guy stuff? No, I would say once a week. What if you just do a basic vocal coaching on TikTok to your audience?
So here's the thing. I could, but man, I've seen so many people who do it way better than I could ever do it. Like they're just awesome. Like
nobody's Kurt.
Hey, look.
I would let you be my vocal coach. I'd try for a solo in "We Are the Nerds." Come on, I'd take it any day, Kurt.
Here's the thing.
Don't cut that out, Joe.
Here's the thing. The "We Are the Nerd" parody thing has some legs, and I'm just coming up with it now. So it's not a 2024 thing.
No, right.
But 2025, maybe. You never know.
Maybe. I'm serious. I would make some time to be a part of that if I could. I mean, I think I
Oh,
need some.
you wouldn't have a choice.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I maybe we should change this to have we ever sang, because obviously Kurt has. I used to sing all the time in choirs, and I did okay with things, but I could definitely use some coaching, because like I go to karaoke, like I think I got this song, and then I don't have the song. Not quite. I mean, karaoke okay, but it's not like have it.
So funnily enough, next year, 2025, is the 40th anniversary of We Are the World.
Well, look at this synchronicity going on here.
Yeah.
All right. And by that time we'll be super famous and people will steal ideas. At this point, we're still up and comers. Nobody's gonna steal the idea. So we're good.
Yeah.
Because random kid will just visit them and punch them. I'll say he says no regrets, which honestly I've talked about intentionally getting that tattoo on my body. Just because one, I think it's hilarious. But two, that's how I think about it. It's like most of what I've gone through has led to me learning the lessons to make me who I am today, to help me get to the next level. Am I apologetic for some of the negative things that came out of bad decisions? Yes. Do I regret them? I have a very hard time saying that, but there's one definitive decision that I do regret, and that's choosing my wife over my son when I needed to choose him. Because there was this, without going into a super long story, there was this moment in 9th, 10th grade for him, 11th ish, somewhere, that basically he'd come back from high school and was going to be doing homeschool, and he didn't kind of want to, but he kind of did. But I told him this is how it's going to go. And she had been doing homeschool, and then there was this thing where basically she gave up. I don't know why, it just became a thing. This is the one thing I can say I'm a single parent in, because I handle all of the schooling for the kids, period. And I don't remember what happened, why she gave up. She got mad at me, but I was coming home stressed from work, and then the kids aren't doing their 1 hour or 2 hours of school, and I'm mad. And then she basically, especially because it was him, she would jump right in the middle and fight. And it got to a point where I said, you know what? Fine. You do whatever you do, dude. I don't care anymore. I've told you how to finish. All you gotta do is finish this out. And I just can't fight you and her. I regret that decision. I would honestly, looking back, because I don't think I would have lost my marriage. I don't think it would have been that. It might have put us in a better place even than we are today. But I should have said, I do not care about you right now. I fully, to my core, believe that we are failing this boy as parents. And if you are going to take your hands off and throw him up and not do jack crap with school, then you could shut up. And I would just take him outside and never talk to him in front of her and just drill him in, like, you will finish this. I don't care if you go to college. I never have, but you will finish. And he dropped out of school. And he's doing okay. We had a great talk tonight. He's very mature as far as handling his life, and he's doing better than I was at his age as far as that maturity, health, emotional, mental, physical health, all that. But that, because it was my decision, and I truly no, he's not going to, not anywhere near future. Random kid asked if he's going to get his GED. No plans for it right now. And it was about me making a decision to say, I'm just tired of the fights, versus I believe in what is right and it's worth fighting for. And I believe I taught him to give up a little bit, that it's okay, which now he's got his own decisions to make. But that one, I fully regret that one. If I could change it, I would. Joe?
Well, I was just going to comment about the GED thing. My sister, she dropped out of high school because she got pregnant. She got her GED, and she's actually just about to get her bachelor's. So she's doing pretty good.
And he's got a job that he likes. He works with his hands. He works at an oil change place. He can do some basic mechanic work. Nothing fancy. He could get his GED and go to mechanic school if he really wants to. I mean, there's definitely paths. You can always get your GED. And that's why I didn't really go the extreme routes with him. It's like, look, I know it's not the end of the world, but for me, I know it's deeper. But I realized at the time, by the time he made that decision, there was no going back. It was still from my decision not to fight. So I'd rather sacrifice my marriage to make sure you were taken care of in life, which wouldn't have happened, but that felt like the choice, than say, fine, just give up. Everybody do. It just, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's fine. I'm not worried about him. It really was a moment in my life that I really regret for myself. But
How long ago was that?
He's 19 now. About a year and a half ago, 2 years.
Okay.
Because his sister is, it's a mess with her school. She's basically going in her senior year. So yeah, it'd have been about two years ago ish. I mean, and he was 2 months away. 2 months away. All he had to do is finish up that much work and graduate. And yeah.
I wonder if he'll regret that later down in life.
Maybe it's last spring. Maybe a year ago, basically. But yeah, I don't want him. So that's the other thing. That is the other. I do not want him to regret it. I want him to learn from it. And go, okay, I made the decision then. I can make this decision now, whatever that is, and finally, because it is a different world. Even when I grew up, my mom was like, "You gotta have a high school diploma, or nobody will hire you," and that was the world she grew up in. The world I grew up in went, "Hey, we'll start you at the bottom." Now I had a high school diploma. I didn't finish college till years later. I got an associate's or whatever, which never did me any good, except for whatever. But I could start at the bottom somewhere, but I can learn stuff. And that was the world I grew up in. The world now is more of an entrepreneur mindset, even at jobs. That's why people don't like working at McDonald's when they're young, because it's not slave labor, but it's very rigid, very unfun labor, right?
Yeah.
Whereas being creative, thinking, adding to the conversation, that is the generation that's coming up today that I see.
And I think the biggest impact will be
Pop's got something to say.
Getting in the door to get that first bit of experience is where it'll hurt the most, because a lot of people, they'll see the work experience and they'll be like, okay, that's great, but you got to get that work experience first in order to have other doors open to you.
Gonna go into tech unless he does tech schools, but like he was already working at this oil change shop, and to be real, the guy who runs it is very what you'd expect of a guy who owns and runs an oil change shop. Built this on the back of blah blah blah. Doesn't care about high school, so he didn't. He's like, oh cool, I can put you to work more hours, and because my son is smart, him quitting had nothing to do with his smartness. It had everything to do with bad decisions. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, right now he's limited. Like if he decided he wanted to go into medicine because it pays more, he can't. He'd have to get his GED, but once you get your GED, which is also kind of dumb, but once you get your GED, you can go right into EMT school. You can go into a lot of tech school classes. You're not going to go to Harvard probably unless you really do something crazy. But yeah.
I had a woman that I used to work with. She was an application developer just like me, but her degree was in library science. And so like I said, once you get your foot in the door, you can open up a lot of opportunities, sure. But it's getting your foot in the door.
The difference with a programming type situation is you can show that you know what you're doing.
Yep.
Right. It's easier to show that you know what you're doing. So and the thing about your kid and the GED thing, honestly, when you said he's not going for his GED now, I don't care. Like that doesn't bother me, and it doesn't bother me from a getting your foot in the door end of things too, because if that at some point becomes important for him, he's still young enough to do that. Sure. Right? He's young enough to get his GED. He's young enough to enter a new workforce. Look, I don't know if you guys have done this yet, but most people have a career until they switch careers.
Yeah, I've had
right. I was in the video game industry for 20 years, and now I'm not, and I'm in a different career path. And that happened when I was 35 is when I changed my career path. So you don't have to keep a job for life. Like you don't have to keep a career.
I don't know
life.
that you can keep a career or a job for life very much anymore.
Well, some people can, but the other thing
difficult.
And nowadays there's not a lot of incentive to do that either. Like before, you used to be able to build up a pension and build up like all this great things with the companies. Companies don't treat you like a person anymore. They treat you.
The world doesn't work that way anymore.
They don't. The world does not work that way.
All right,
which is a shame in my opinion.
All right, I'm older than both of you, right? Do you know how many companies I've worked for that offered a pension?
A lot, probably.
One.
Pension versus 401k.
That's different. Pension.
Okay.
Pension,
I'm making
pension,
sure. Gotcha,
pension is a company benefit.
They pay you.
They pay you.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, got it.
401k has been around, and IRAs have been around forever. Like it's just that's
sure.
And you can make the choice. I've basically taught both of my kids, get in as soon as you humanly possibly can.
Yeah.
And if the company matches your money at all, at least put it
max
in that
that
much.
out.
At least max that out.
Yep.
And so both of them have done that. And so that's great. And then I say, and forget it exists. Like, just don't even think about it. So
maybe check in on it once a year or something like that if you're curious, but don't
worry about it.
Don't worry. Yeah.
Well, because honestly, those things, if you leave them alone, historically have been shown to grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it is. So if you leave them alone, they'll be fine. But Charles, you said something that is what triggered my facial tick. And that was kids don't want to work at McDonald's or whatever because it's not fun, and the creatives and whatnot. This is where I sound like a really old man.
All right, I'm off the porch. Go ahead.
I don't care if it's fun.
Yeah.
In order to get the fun stuff, you have to pay your dues. And paying your dues means having crappy jobs for a while until you get to a point where you don't have to have a crappy job.
I wish that everyone did some kind of a service job at some point in their life, either waiting tables, janitorial, anything where you've got to deal with people. Because I think it makes you appreciate the good people in your life that much more.
Yeah, I would say retail is similar. It's not the same as service.
It's
not,
similar. You're not wrong.
But okay, all right, grumpy pusses. Listen, it's not about. I don't mean that McDonald's serving at that level is not fun. It's
not fun.
The engagement. I mean, I can make anything fun. I've tried to.
There are fun moments. There are fun moments, but the jobs stink.
Look, I loved working at Chick-fil-A, which is fast food. There are certain people that it is how you look at it. I mean, there's some I do not want to be a trash guy. I think the trash man, I say thank you for your service and salute them as they go by, because I don't want to, there's no way I want to do that, but there's other things that you can do to have fun at a job. And I've enjoyed pretty much every job I've had, but the engagement, how the people treat you, when you get, and Joe, you're talking about how companies, and I get it. Everybody, it's not, you're wrong about that opinion. It's like everybody has their opinion, but I think the world has had a very bad idea of what business is, and it is a meeting in the middle. It's, I don't need you to pay me a pension. You don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. We came together and it's almost a bartering system. You bartered and said you'd pay me this much money to bring you this much work. Yep. And that's how, if you look at it like that, it's like, hey, I'm here to do me and you can have fun. And I think there's more of a connection with, in my experience with the kids, they're not kids, but they're older Gen Zs coming into EMT school. My kids are getting older and I see them in the workforce. Yeah. Oakland had a great job, man. Zaxby's, let me tell you, great company. And y'all might not know what I think, Joe, but Kurt, you might not know what Zaxby's is.
It's a chicken place. Come on.
I didn't know how wide they went. I didn't know if they were like.
I have been to the South.
No, that's true. I forget. Yeah. But their orientation, like you go to an office building and they have a whole orientation class and they give you pants, shoes, your uniform shirt, hat, and you don't give the shoes or pants back. They're like, those are yours. And he was his first job ever. He's making 12 something an hour and he's 16. Right. So they are definitely, okay, you're going to work the line, and he's making mistakes, and they treated him right, but they put him to wash dishes a number of times. Now, here's the dumb thing that I got on him for, was he quit over that, basically. I said, you love your music, right? Because that was the one really hated about Zaxby's. You cannot wear your AirPods, except when you wash dishes. They don't care. If you're back on dish duty, you can have your AirPods. I'm like, you complain so much about not getting to have your music, and then they put you in the one place you can have your music. And then I did say that, Kurt. I said, you don't get to be the fun, fancy jobs. You have to earn it. You do have to earn it. You have to show, I'm going to be the best dishwasher, because the best dishwasher will be the best chicken plate maker, which will be the best, assistant manager, so on and so forth. And you didn't like it because they told you you're doing the job wrong, and they made you wash dishes in the place that's where you get to listen to your music. And so, yeah, I agree with you a little bit, Kurt, but also I want to stay on this lawn a little bit. I want to stay on this lawn. Yeah. Random kid. Hey, why random kid says that?
Roll that dice.
I never said my biggest regret.
I thought you didn't you?
No.
Did you?
No, I sure didn't.
His biggest regret was this particular
roll
subject.
That dice.
My biggest regret was asking my mom if she could go back in time and do one thing. What would she do?
Oh no!
So I was expecting.
Was it not have you?
I was expecting something like, go back and invest in Amazon or something like that a lot of people would say. It was she would go back and not marry my dad. So not only me, but all my siblings are gone. I was like, oh, this got awkward real fast.
Real fast.
Real fast.
And then did you whip out a picture and your siblings started to disappear?
Wow, yeah, that's yeah. Look, man, while you roll the dice, my mother-in-law, when she was in her last days, well, really last months, whatever, she got that kind of senility that makes you be honest, and she talked about regretting having kids to their faces. Just a lot of ugliness. And to random kid's point, I loved used to when we were first 5-6 years I was married, I'd make the joke that man, you got to get married. A clean clothes fairy shows up, a clean dishes fairy shows up, a vacuuming. It's magic. There's magic fairies just all over the place. And my wife ultimately laughed at that. But yeah, the other
ultimately, it took her a few years.
Before I got married, one of my favorite jokes was, what do you do when a dishwasher breaks? You get a divorce.
Marry a new one.
Yeah. So, but young and dumb.